Frank's after me here to Post Pizziola, 23% Italian. Member of the Pizza Gavones. We got Donny Spox, got the grill and Gavone. Review the pizza, the place, and the personality. And remember, all our reviews are oven fresh pies. Never anything out of a box.
Albert Grande here from pizzatherapy.com. I have the world's famous Pizza Gavones here, who are experts in beats. And I'd like to start with you, Timmy. Tell me a little bit about yourself and about your memories of pizza.
So, I'm a general contractor by trade. Good looking, bald man. Grew up in A-Town, West Haven. Started eating pizza roughly when I was 11 years old. My family's background is really involved in the pizza world still to this day. And they're well known in the New Haven area. I've eaten plenty of it to know what's good and what's bad. I've had a love for it and continue to have love for it. And that's pretty much, I'm a general contractor in the state. So, and I get to roam around with these guys, testing pizza and eating pizza and doing all the good stuff, you know?
Perfect.
So, yeah.
All right. Frank, tell me a little bit about your background and your pizza experiences.
Well, Albert, how much time do you have? So, again, we all grew up in West Haven, and we all have our own kind of different memories. But the earliest memories I have of eating beets is actually from Zoop's. My father was a local electrician, a union electrician, and he used to work in New Haven a lot. And on his way home, he used to stop at Zoop's, and that's when my first memory of pizza is eating Zooparties.
Right. And as I was going to say, it's Zooparties. Remember, a lot of people don't know about Zoop's, but Zooparties, and it is in West Haven, correct?
It's in West Haven, and it's actually in a very interesting place because if you went down, it's basically a residential street. And then about 2-3 houses in from the corner, there's this white house, which is what they started out with. They actually started out in the back garage is where they had their first pizza oven. But it's basically a house in the middle of a residential area, and it's a real cool place.
Okay, great. Okay, Don, tell me about yourself and your earliest pizza memories.
Well, Albert, my first pizza memories were every birthday party we had involved pizza. You have a group of kids. We grew up in a working class town where you wanted to get as much food as you can for the kids and get them into a food coma so they pass out. So we were big Mike's Beats and a place that's not around anymore called Danny's Espresso. Those were our go-tos for pizza. And Friday nights, my dad would stop and get pizza on the way home from work at one of those two places. And I had an uncle that worked at Pepe's. And then later on in life, I married into pizza royalty with the Cenotti family. And Lou Cenotti had Lou's Pizza on Second Ave.
Yeah.
Pizza-matic. Pizza-matic.
Pizza.
So
yeah.
My wife is a Cenotti, and her father, I think, was Lou's nephew.
Yes. And that's really kind of historical. The Pizza-matic. Lou Cenotti invented this pizza machine or a pizza vending machine that was at the World's Fair in 1964. And I've even gone into, there are actual copyright pictures where you can see the Pizza-matic and how it's made. You just have to Google it. So that's a very historical thing.
That's fantastic.
It might be the very first pizza vending machine ever created. I think that's just incredible. Yeah. So Lou Cenotti is a pizza legend. Tell me a little bit, how did the three of you guys get together? How did the Pizza Gavones come about?
Well, we were all actually at a pizza place, and we decided we didn't like each other. So we all started fighting, and we've been fighting ever since for about the last 35 years. No, I'm kind of exaggerating, but we're actually, Don and I are childhood friends. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
And then Timmy, I met about 15, 20 years ago. We used to fish competitive fishing tournaments, and that's where I met Timmy.
Right.
But I kind of put us all together because I knew that there was like this synergy. You know, when we get together, we have a lot of fun and we, you know, break each other's whats and you know, we just have fun and we all have a huge passion for our beats.
Yeah, that's great. So let's get right to a definition. What is beats? It's really very much a New Haven thing. It's become very, very famous. I mean, everyone talks about it. So what is a beats? What is a definition of a beats?
Who wants to take this?
Well, I'll you know, I'm not going to give a technical definition, but
No.
if people are Kansas or Indiana and they want to know the difference, pizza to me, a regular pizza to me, or the pizza you get out there is like a Drake's cake, and Abate's is like a fine French pastry. It's just better. It's a better quality, higher quality pizza, really.
Right.
And then give you a little more of the technical specifications, and Timmy will, of what actually makes it Abate's.
Yeah. The to me, what makes it Abate's is the crunch. It's thin crust, and you got to have as the griller calls, the charred goodness. You got to have the black. You got to have some burnt on it. That incorporates into the taste of the pizza and the sauce very, very well. It's got an incredible blend. And without that, it's really not called Abate's, without some of that black char. And if you have it, it's basically Abate's. And then we have world-class, pizza restaurants, Abate's restaurants and pizza restaurants. We have them all. We have the top of the food chain when it comes to pizza. But that's, in my opinion, what makes Abate's. Frank,
Okay.
you can give a more technical term of it.
Sure. Frank?
All right, so I'm going to try to keep my answer brief.
All right.
The technical.
The king of the filibuster is going to keep it brief.
So a brief history is late 1800s, early 1900s, generally Southern Amalfi Coast, Italian immigrants came over from Italy to the United States. They landed in Ellis Island, and then a bunch of them came to New Haven. And basically they came to New Haven to work. But I wouldn't say most of them, a lot of them were actually bakers over in Italy.
Yeah.
So basically the technical word is la pizza. And a lot of these gentlemen and a lot of women did not come over at first. They came over to get jobs and then they brought their family over. But the only way they could pronounce it was Abate's, not la pizza. It's Abate's. So they dropped the L, they kept the A, and they just said beats, Abate's.
Right.
I've even got a picture of I think it's Apicelli's when they started out in New Haven. There's actually a sign that they handmade, and it's labeled Arbeetz, Arbetze.
Ooh. Yeah. So
So-
kind of a phonetical kind of how to pronounce it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Albert, and this isn't a disrespect to these gentlemen because obviously they gave us something really incredible, but most of them were uneducated. They couldn't speak the language and they couldn't write. So I think, they basically pronounced it as best they could.
Okay.
It fit right in with the Gavones.
Yeah. All right. Hey, what does gavone mean? What is a gavone? What are the pizza gavones? What is what's the definition?
That's a tricky answer.
Yeah.
So hold on. Did you ever watch me eat? There you go. That sums it all up.
When I was growing up, that my grandmother used to call it say cavone. You look like a cavone, and it was not it was an insult, really. What it was you looked like you're a peasant and you're messy and dirty and you're acting crude. And that's one interpretation.
Right.
Gavone, the way we do our interpretation of it is more of it's someone who just likes to eat a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. One of the things that I love to talk about are, to me, the standard of Abate's, which is Pepe's, Sally's, Modern, Zupardi's, Ernie's. Those are the pizza places I'm familiar with. I've had pizza in all of them. I love their pizza. And it's just, to me, extraordinary. It's like nowhere else on earth can you have pizza like that. But the Gavones have taken Abate's to a whole nother level. And following you on YouTube and on Instagram, you guys are coming up with these places that no one ever heard of. And I'd like you to kind of talk about a couple of them, give them a shout out and what you think. I mean, I'm just amazed that there's so much great pizza in Connecticut.
Well, Albert, that's been the biggest thing that we've discovered. And I don't really want to say discovered because we kind of knew it, but you know, one of the main reasons why we started the Pizza Gavones about a year ago is because, you know, there was a lot of doom and gloom and just, you know, with the whole COVID thing. And I was like, you know what, we got to do something to make people happy, to make people laugh. And that was kind of the inception of the idea with these two guys. But to answer your question specifically, it's really been, and I honestly say this, it's been a humbling experience. And I think these other two guys will agree with me. When we go and talk to these places, like we just were at Abate on Worcester Street.
Yes.
Which literally is 2 doors down from Pepe's and 1 door down from Libby's.
In between, right next to Libby's.
Right. So the one thing I want to be clear about is that we love the Trinity. We love Sally's, Pepe's, and Modern. But what we're trying to give people is the fact that there's many more really, really, really good places other than those three.
Right.
And that's not to take their thunder away because they are the oldest, some of the best. But again, we went to this place, Abate, which is right next to 2 doors down from Pepe's.
Yeah.
And we were blown away by the Abate's.
Yeah.
But more importantly, and I think this is really key, is that the people that we talk to, that we meet, like I never met Lou Abate in my life before going there last Tuesday.
No kidding. Wow.
He is a great guy. He's an absolute character. And the one thing he has, which is very similar to almost every place that we've gone to, is he has a tremendous amount of passion. And I want to kind of loop back into the Abate's thing, because that's one of the things that we've discovered is that, you know, there's pizza, someone that does that for a business. They get up in the morning, they go make the dough, they go make, you know, they stretch it, they put the sauce on it, they put the cheese on it, they put it in the oven, and they're just selling pizza. But there's a big difference with Abate's, because a lot of these people that make true Abate's are super passionate. You know, every pizza that comes out, and not that it happens that way, but every pizza that comes out, they want it to be the best.
Okay.
Wasn't this the short? He was going to keep it brief.
I have met Lou Abate, believe it or not. I probably met him 6 or 8 years ago, believe it or not, at Pizza Expo. Didn't know who he was, just kind of walked up to him, stuck a microphone in front of his face. He was great. And I have been to Abate since then. It's a great pizza place.
And I say this with as much possible affection as I can. He is an absolute kook.
100%.
In the best possible way. I mean,
it's a compliment.
Yes. Well, taking it from what Frank said, you know, about in your question about, you know, the Trinity and then the others. What we found, and I think these guys can speak to this too, is as over the generations, because these pizza places, the Trinity is so, you know, old and such an institution, that now you've got other people who learned their trade with the Trinity, opening up their own pizza places. Manja in North Haven, those guys worked at a bunch of them, but among others, Sally's. And then where the guy Joe from Tipsy, right? He worked at a few different places.
You worked at Abate too.
Abate, yeah. So we found, I mean, in the fourth, and I think we kind of agree that that fourth member of the Trinity, if there's such a way to put it, would be Grand. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, the big four.
The big four.
Okay.
Is what,
Oh, okay. Tell me about Grand. What makes them a great
It
pizza
is-
place?
to me, it's they have three locations. They kind of, what they did was they were on Grand Avenue, right down kind of in the heart of New Haven, just like those guys, maybe a little off the beaten path. So they didn't really get the notoriety. But what they did is they sold out that location, moved out to the shoreline to a much more affluent area, and they're bringing beats to the suburbs. And it's just they're playing New Haven style of beats is as good as it gets. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing, let me just interject here for 1 second. Not only is Abate right up the street from Pepe's, another half a block up the road is Sally's. All right. So, you know, for Abate being there for as long as he has, I mean, obviously you have to be doing something right. And I agree, Grand, but there are many others that are coming up that arguably could be put in top 3, top 4, top 5. We're comparing, you know, a red apple to a green apple. I mean, they are this good. You know, I want to say a few weeks ago, I had probably one of the best pizzas I've ever had, or beats, I should say, in my life. You know, I mean, so it is.
Whoa,
Yeah. Where was that, Tim? What are you
no,
talking about?
I was cheating on us.
Listen, I cheat on you guys all the time. I get around.
Oh, I know you do.
I do what a gavone does. I got to keep.
So where was the pizza you're talking about?
Actually, I'm going to be honest. It was Fuco in Cheshire.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It was
My
Fuco in Cheshire. I kind of cheated on you guys. I went there on my own for lunch, and George made me a pie, and it was arguably one. I think it might have been the best pepperoni I've ever eaten in my life.
Those,
No kidding.
that's my go-to now, right down the street. And these guys, when he's got that coal, how many coal-fired ovens in the state?
I think there's 5 or 6 true coal-fired ovens.
And he does a
Okay.
great job.
He's got one of them.
Wow.
But I
Yeah.
want to circle
Wow.
back, Albert. We still have time.
Yeah. Please. We're just getting started. Are you kidding me?
He did
Hey.
time for-
All
Come
right,
on.
So there's a cool backstory to Grand Beats, which I think is cool, and I think people need to know this and understand it. I don't know the addresses, but Grand Beats is on State Street in New Haven.
Grand Avenue.
No, Modern. I'm sorry.
Modern.
Okay.
Otter.
So Modern was started by the Nuzzo family, Nuzzo. And again, I don't
Right.
remember the gentleman's last names, but there were 2 brothers. And the first person in the Modern building was actually Tolle, which is a big New Haven.
Tolle's
beef.
another place.
He's
And if I could
great.
just stop you just for a second, Frank, Modern does not have a coal-fired oven. They have an oil-fired oven, I think. They don't
100%
use a
correct.
coal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So-
just a quick interjection. Can we take coal off the table as being beats? Right? It doesn't matter. We're
100%.
going to say heat is heat, correct?
That's correct. Now, you're going to get a lot of arguments from people because they think you can only make beats in a coal-fired oven, which is false. So the Nuzzo family started Modern roughly about 1945 with, we'll call it Brother 1. Brother 2 was fighting in World War II. Brother 2 came back from World War II, and he worked for the original brother, Nuzzo, for about 7 years. Then he went down the street. He went from State Street to Grand Ave, and he started a place called Grand Beats, roughly, early 50s. They had that location, I believe, for 50 years, and they sold it, I think 10, 15 years ago, and their son moved out to the shoreline. But the thing that I want to make clear is that, Grand doesn't get the notoriety that they should, and they are absolute pizza royalty. So it should be Sally's, Pepe's, Modern, and Grand, because
Agreed.
you can't get any closer to basically the start of Abate's in New Haven without mentioning the Nuzzos, which is initially modern, which obviously he doesn't own it anymore. Billy, I think Pastini or Pastorini owns it. He does a fantastic job. But that's all. I don't want to stop filibustering.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So Albert, one thing that we're also finding out is that, and Don kind of alluded to it before, is that there is like this inner web of all these pizzerias in, I'll call it general Fairfield, New Haven County. They all stemmed from at some point working somewhere in New Haven.
Yes. Okay.
Or in the general area. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I know for Pepe's, as a matter of fact, that Salvatore Consiglio, Sally, was Frank Pepe's nephew. So he learned pizza from Frank and he moved right down the street, which is fascinating. I mean, so a lot of these pizza places are all interwoven, which is incredible. What makes Grand so special?
Don or Tim, you want to answer this?
To
Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, to me, what sets them apart is the sauce. And Tim and I have talked about this. You know, some people are crust people, some people are sauce. I'm a sauce guy. To me, that's why I like Sally's and Grand. I think their sauce is tremendous, and it's got a little kick to it, and the service is tremendous. It's just really we met Mikey Abate's, and now we got Mikey Abate's Jr. running one of his joints. And talk about Louis Abate as a character. Mikey Abate's is a throwback character to another generation, and it's really just a really great pie, really great.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. You were talking about Tolle's, also another New Haven staple. A few years ago, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I happened to attend the New Haven Pizza Festival where I had Tolle's and Lou Abate's had pizza there. What about Tolle's? What about that place?
I'm a huge fan. The only problem is with Tolle's is that the only time I ever go there is when I'm in a funeral at East Haven Funeral Home. So I have, but I'm actually a big Tolle's fan. I think their pepper, like Timmy loves the Fucos pepperoni. To me,
yeah.
Tolle's is as good as it gets. Now they do have new owners, and I haven't been there in a little bit. So, reserve judgment on the new owners. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Okay. I love your channel. I love what you guys do. You guys will go into a pizzeria, and it seems like you befriend the owner. I mean, you'll have your pizza, you'll rate the pizza, and then you bring the owner in and say, "Hey, what do you think?" I think that's your videos are just fantastic. So here's my question, and I want an answer from every single buddy on this call. How do you rate the pizza? I mean, how are you figuring out that it's a 5, an 8, a 9? What are your standards?
Well, let me answer this first, just because there's something that you might not know, and we haven't made a final decision. So you obviously know that there's a famous guy that does pizza reviews. Correct?
Yes.
Right.
I know the guy. Yes.
Yep. So Albert, what we decided to do pretty much from day one, and no disrespect to him, he is an absolute giant. He's an incredible business person, yada, yada, yada. We're not taking anything away from him. But we didn't want to be like him.
Okay.
Nor did we want to have, we didn't feel that rating a pizza in a box is fair.
Okay.
Again, no disrespect. But so when we decided to do this, we wanted to do this with our own rules. And so we initially started out with grading the system like a grade school grade, like
right.
a 70, 80, 90, 100.
Yeah.
But we're kind of experimenting right now. Like the last 2 reviews we've done, we haven't given them grades.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
And what we're
My
finding,
bad. My bad.
no, that's okay. You know, we might go back to it. We might every once in a while put a grade in. But the other thing that we're finding is that, you know, we used to always grade the mozzarella pizza,
Yep.
the cheese pizza.
Yeah.
But what we're finding is that a lot of these places, like the hidden gems of the places on the menus, are a lot of the specialty pies. Like we went to this place, Tipsy Tomato on Route 34 in Derby. And we had, and I know that we might get some slack for this because it's not true Abate's, but we had this stuffed shrimp pizza, Abate's.
Yeah.
And Albert, it is still to the day, and I am true blue New Haven. Like my favorite pie is New Haven plain, but this stuffed shrimp pie from Tipsy Tomato is absolutely off the charts.
Okay.
Albert has not stopped talking about this pie for 8 months. He has not stopped talking about it. And I think between him and Timmy, they've gone back there.
Oh, yeah.
Tipsy Tomato is going to name a boat after these 2 guys.
I think you're right. I think he might already have a boat. At least that's big. Maybe a jet.
But Frank's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I think, and Albert, you could tell us, you've watched the videos. I think people aren't watching our show or our channel to figure out, you know, what is Gorilla? Did Gorilla give this an 85 or an 87? And right. I think they want to just see, they want to see the pizza, like Frank coined the terms, the pizza, the place, and the personality. They want to see what the pizza place, they want to see what the restaurant looks like, and they want to talk to the owners. And yeah, so it's everything we do is a work in progress.
Sure.
So,
100%.
Sure.
And I also think that a lot of the viewers also want to see we're getting up and close and personal with the owner. And I think when we highlight the owner, that helps the people want to come to that pizzeria, because people are a good judge of character, right? They can generally look at that person and go, you know what? That's an amazing guy. I want to go there and I want to meet Joe, or I want to meet Lou down at, or so on. There's so many of them, you know? So many great people that we're meeting. And each one we do, I love more and more, not about eating the pizza, which is that's a bonus, but we're meeting so many fantastic people doing this that it shows in our videos. It's making these customers want to come and experience that same thing.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's kind of a win-win-win.
Yeah.
You get to eat the pizza, you get to see the place, and you get to meet the owner. And it's all a celebration of pizza. And going back to what you said, Frank, and I think that's really important. You kind of brushed on it early. You know, there are people that make pizza. They sling pizza, they throw pizza after pizza. And then there are the artisans, the people that put their heart and soul into the pizza. And that's what it seems that you guys want to capture, the heart and soul of the pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, Albert. That's pretty much, 2 reviews ago, we were in Fairfield County. It was our first Fairfield County review we did. This place called Naughty Dolphin. It's in actually the Fairfield old railroad station. And so, to make a long story short, there are 2 owners there, Greg and Scott. And, this is probably one of the most memorable things for me and touching, is that when Greg was talking about Scott, he basically choked up on camera.
Wonderful.
And that's how much, A, they were happy we were there telling their story, and B, it showed, the love that these 2 guys have for each other. And you can't put a rating on that. You can't put a number on that.
And you do the same thing up with us, that, when we talk about each other, we do the same exact thing. We get all choked up,
No,
sure.
I throw up a little in my mouth.
Exactly.
Well, it's kind of go.
One of the great moments for me was at the end of last year, we did an end of the year award ceremony. And we did it at Tipsy Tomato in Derby, but we invited Mike Nuzzo from Grand, because he was getting an award, and Mike Bonacore from Mike's. And when we took a picture of them together, and Joe from Tipsy, who was a newbie on the block compared to these guys, to see the pride. I mean, he had his chest pumped out to be standing next to these two icons of pizza was just really, to me, that was one of the great moments so far. I really enjoyed that moment.
Okay, that's just fantastic. What do you see? Where are we going with the Pizza Gavones? What's coming up in the future?
Saturday Night Live. Conan O'Brien.
No, and we're going to Hawaii.
And pizza therapy.
There you go. Pizza therapy. Okay. You're going to continue with the videos, which I think are fantastic. I mean, again, you guys are doing something no one else is doing. It's a real niche. I mean, people have to be excited about this Abate and, New Haven style pizza. So it's really niched down.
I have a question for you, Albert. I know you're doing the interview, but it's a very serious and somewhat controversial topic.
Here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
So listen. So we know that you're from Connecticut and you love Abate.
Yes.
But now you're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Have you been corrupted with the Hawaiian pineapple pizza?
Okay. Let me answer that question for you. And I'm going to give you a serious answer. I'll tell you, I'll try to telescope it. This is a true story. Probably about 15 years ago, I got a email from a Canadian film company. And they said, "Hey, Albert, we're coming to Hawaii. We know you have this pizza therapy thing. What can you tell us about Hawaiian pizza?" And I wrote back and I said, "Look, I can't tell you anything about Hawaiian pizza because Hawaiian pizza has nothing to do with Hawaii." I did a video about it. It has nothing. It's got pineapple, but that's what it is. And then as I researched it, it was, and I think Scott Wiener even went back farther. But as far as I can tell, this guy from Canada, he was a Greek immigrant in the 60s, put pineapple on pizza and called it Hawaiian pizza. So really, it has nothing to do with Hawaii. But you want to, honestly, stop calling it Hawaiian pizza. You want to call it pineapple pizza? I'm all for it. It's not Hawaiian pizza. It has nothing to do with us. But have I ever put in pineapple on a pizza? I make pizza. No, I haven't. I haven't done it yet. But I think it would work. I mean, I think pineapple is, it could work on some pizza. If that's what you like, that's fine.
That's great.
But I know there are a lot of purists. I don't know if that gives you your answer, but that's kind of where I am.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you want to put on pizza is fine. It's really up to you. I'm not really a purist, but I have my limits. I haven't put pineapple on pizza. Not going to happen for a while. So
Timmy has his limits too. The pizza can't be moving.
Albert, I gotta tell you, Frank touched on, what we're getting. Everybody's getting into these specialty pizzas, and typically it wouldn't be what I would order, right? I'm the meat guy. I'm, sausage, pepperoni, or plain. But now we're seeing with all of these incredible ingredients that these people are putting on their pizzas that I am trying, and I'm like, holy cow, these are like really good. And I would consider I would order them. The arugula, that's a little too far. I'm not going to go that route. But we had one from Abate, I believe the fresh moots that was phenomenal.
How good was this at Abate?
There was another one. And this is not something that I would traditionally go and get. And now that I've had this Abates, I would order these. They're magnificent. So yep.
So okay, well that's great. I kind of am an arugula fan. I make an arugula pizza, but that's just me. I think it works. But so what is the weirdest thing you've ever had on pizza, Tim?
Well, I just tried the pineapple not too long ago.
Oh, the truth comes out. Okay.
Yeah.
I gave it a shot, and it was
And?
definitely different. You know, I got to honestly, it wasn't awful. I think the bacon helped it. You know, if it didn't have the it would have changed everything. But you know, the problem is you got a corrupted attorney. You know, you have Frank, who's had a deep desire for eating pineapple pizza for years. I had peer pressure there that I had to deal with, so I had to kind of put it down. You know, and it was free.
Yeah, there you go.
And if it's
Frank.
free,
It's for me.
How about you, Frank? What's the weirdest thing you've had on pizza?
I'm sorry, was the question for
The
me?
strangest ingredient on pizza.
Alige,
The hell's that?
What is alige?
anchovies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nasty.
Oh man, I love anchovies pizza. It's
Nasty.
one of my favorites. One of my signature pies. Wow. Okay. Don.
San Diego, I had years ago, I had some what's that green stuff? The green that they make guacamole out of.
Avocado.
Avocado.
Avocado on a pizza.
Yep. Yep.
Once.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
How
Great.
about you, Albert? What's the strangest pie you've ever had?
Oh, that's a great question. One of the strangest is one of my favorites, which is there's a guy here in Hawaii who makes a poke pizza, which is raw fish. He pre-cooks the crust, and then at the end he puts poke on it. And I think it's just fantastic. I mean, for me, it just made a lot of sense. You know,
Like the sushi pie. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah.
a what? Yeah,
sushi
well,
pie.
you know, yeah, except there's no rice. I mean, so it's an actual pizza crust. So,
Right.
yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah,
Excellent.
Now I'm hungry.
yeah. There you go. There you go. I want to end up, if I could. Are you all eat pizza? You make pizza as well? Are you pizza makers?
Those two are.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I don't make pizza any longer. Why do I have to do that when there's
Yes.
hundreds of places right here that it's going to do it for me? I'm a gavone. I
Yeah.
want to just go order and eat. I don't
Yeah.
want to do all the prep. I don't want to do all that. If I really want pie, I will go to Frank's house and get his pie as well.
Yeah.
He does
Yeah.
eat all the time. I used to, I actually had proved it at Frank's house last year when he was pleasantly shocked that I went in there and actually made a pie for the first time in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't do it, but Frank still does it. So I'll let him take the mic from here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I want to, because Timmy's not giving himself enough credit. When he was younger, he used to run at least one or two pizzerias down in Allentown and West Haven.
And ran them where, Frank? Where did he run them?
He ran it in the ground.
In ground.
Albert, the short story is that Timmy worked there and ran it for 6 months. And then when he left about a month later.
Now, 3 months later. 3 months.
When they hire him, they'd give him a set of padlocks. And they said, just in a few months, just lock the door on your way out.
Albert, I have lots of proof on this, but nobody ever they don't want to they're not calling the witnesses to the stand. And I wonder why. You know why? Because they can continue to poke fun at the gorilla for all of this. So it's okay. I'm just going to move forward. But, maybe on your show, we'll bring a couple witnesses on and they'll all contest that this is true.
But Albert, let me finish. So Timmy has a lot of pizza experience in his younger days, but he also comes in, he didn't mention this. He comes from his mother's side, the Minervinis. And I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they're fairly popular here in the New Haven area. Nate Minervini, I think they go back 2 or 3 generations, and they've had all kinds of pizzerias. And now the sons are in it. So I just wanted to get that out there.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
But my experience is I actually started making pizza frite, which is fried dough.
Yes.
In West Haven at the carnival, the church I used to go to. And so I did that probably for about 4 or 5 years. And then probably 25 years later, I actually had my own pizza truck. It was called Fired Up Pizza Truck. And it was New Haven style, wood-fired oven. I did that for 3 or 4 years. And it just got, it actually got so crazy that it's a kind of a long story, but I put that on mothballs for right now.
Sure.
but we do a bunch of parties at our house. And so I've been still making pizza. And I think you know this, but we have 3 videos. One is how to make New Haven style dough. 2 is how to take the dough from the proofing container into your oven on a steel plate.
Yep.
And then the 3rd one is how to make New Haven sauce. And those 3 videos have been very popular with a lot of people, and we get a ton of questions. And the cool part about our group is that we get a lot of those people now really from all over the world that are making New Haven style pizza that never, ever knew about New Haven style pizza. And they make it and they post pictures and videos on our group. And like, for me, that's an incredible satisfaction.
Yeah.
Frank, tell me the guy who came from was he from Phoenix?
From San Diego.
From San Diego. There was a guy, a member of our site, and Ken was his name?
Kevin. He and his family took a vacation. He's a young guy, and he's got a young daughter. They took a trip to New Haven specifically for pizza. Yeah. And they went to a bunch of different places. And if you follow the site, he actually showed up at a review at Abate, and Frank sat down with him for a while and talked to him a little bit. And to me, that's another, you talk about cool moments, somebody coming all the way to do something like this. It was absolutely really incredible. And they drove.
Wow. They drove
from
across
San
country.
Diego to New Haven and back.
Wow.
That's
just because of the Gavones, to give you guys
that's right.
big shout out, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that was an awesome night to see that. And Laura Abate, which is Lou's daughter, could not believe it when Frank was interviewing him. Like, she was like, "Are you kidding me?" He came all the way from San Diego and happened to be there the night. Specifically came there that night because we were doing our review there. It was incredible. Really cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending time with me. As I said, I hope this is the first of several. I hope I can get you guys against the wall again. You have so much pizza knowledge and pizza love. And what you're saying is just incredible. And Don, your story about Cenotti is just amazing.
Really
a number
cool.
of years ago. That's incredible.
Just a little backstory on that is my father-in-law.
Oh, no, that's it, Don. You're done. No backstory.
Don, let's go to Don. Go ahead, Don. Let's hear the backstory.
He likes to spin a yarn. Let's put it that way. So he told me one time, he was just saying, my Uncle Lou invented frozen pizza. And we were like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. No. So then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, my family, my kids, my wife, we go to a place in New Haven. There's a place called the New Haven Museum. Yeah. And it's just all things New Haven. So I buy this book about pizza. And I have it, flipping through it. And sure enough, Cenotti, there he is in the story. And my kids, we were absolutely blown away. Really, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff.
Legendary. I just think it's just fantastic. Yeah. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for spending time with me. Let's give a shout out to where people can find you. On Facebook.
So people can find us at All About New Haven Style Beats group on Facebook.
Yep.
They can find us on YouTube. Our channel is Pizza Gavones.
Okay.
But Instagram. Great.
Pizza Gavones.
On Instagram.
All right. So we got you covered on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Fantastic.
What about your home address?
What's that?
Your home address.
My home address?
So, Frank, just as I want to finish up, if you move your head to the left or right, you got a legendary poster there by Gary Trudeau, which hangs in Sally's. Gary Trudeau of Doonesbury made this great tribute to Sally's with Zonker holding a pizza. That's just a fantastic poster.
Yeah, I call that, Albert, my most prized pizza possession. I got it. I was really lucky. I got it on eBay about 1.5 years or so ago. And I couldn't, I was just, because I was just so happy to get it. You know, I don't know what it's worth or not worth. It's priceless to me.
It's
paid 100
historical.
He paid $125,000 for that.
I used my communion money to pay for that.
Okay, thanks you, Gavones. Thanks a lot. We'll,
I got it.
Thank you very much.